Hello, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. Can y'all hear me? Oh, my camera's not on. Ha, sorry. 1 second. Sorry I'm 5 minutes late today. Not that that's anything new. Still getting used to streaming life. There we go. Perfect. Okay. We'll deal with the big overhead light today. You know, I just shaved too, and it's already turning back into that Owlman. I gotta shave like under here, just like rip it out, you know? Nice jawline, have a nice like, you know? Just usual stuff. Headphones, right. And I'll also edit the stream in just a second. I should really make a pop cap on. I should really make a transition scene so that whenever I'm not doing this, we go from this screen to, you know, different screen. Something I should probably do at some point. Why did I get... we're not going to talk about that. I just got a very weird notification on my phone, and I'm going to... I'm cold. I'm going to look into that later. Whatever. Alright. We'll have comments like that. In front of the monitor, because I don't have 2 monitors yet. One day. Okay. So... let me go to here. All right. Let me edit the stream. Riveting, I know. It's riveting right now. Okay. There we go. As usual with these, I recommend skipping ahead a few minutes. At the very least. Usually we take like 10 minutes, 5 minutes to get settled, to let people filter in. By that I mean like 3 people on a good day, which is fine. I'm not complaining. Why does it say number 5? I need to fix that. I need to learn OBS a bit better. This is, I believe, number 11. It's alright. Oh, I knew something was missing. Okay. What was I doing? My mind just went blank. We're gonna remove that real quick. What was I doing? New York jazz. You like jazz? Start from the very beginning. Unmute that. Bring down the volume. That's not the one. That's the one. Okay, yeah, there's a classic. Cryptid wiki. Ugh. Alrighty. So, welcome everybody. Just a pretty good one so far. we've been making strides. I've been trying to like. We had a lot. Okay, this is loud. There we go. We've had a lot of like, I don't want to say I don't want to say water-based cryptids, but we've had a lot of just cryptids of this, like, samey kind of, you know what I mean? So I've been trying to break it up. When I say I mean during the stream, because I don't do anything prior to. So. What are we doing today? Let's start with this. How are y'all feeling today? How you doing? What's going on? No one in the chat right now, which is fine. But hope you all doing well. I hope you guys are doing good. Why am I so low? Let's lower this a little bit. Alright, yeah, we went over to Loveland Frog. That was cute. Just ended up being like a... What was it? A lizard? An iguana, I think it was. That was like 4 feet long. It's a really big F-off iguana. Oh, excuse me. What are we doing today? Alright, let me also join this. There we go. I think we've only done a Thunderbird as far as winged cryptids go. Oh, really? Could do the Owlman. Stick with our UK theme from last week. Yeah, sure. Why not, right? Did it just... Okay, no. Yeah, let's do the Owlman. Alright. Intro that everybody knows by now if you've watched any of the other episodes. When we do this, we start out with the Wikipedia, because Wikipedia is a valuable source, and it is valid, and should be accepted on academia papers. I don't care what anybody says. Them's the facts. We start with the Wikipedia of the cryptid that we're going over for the week, and then we're going to go from the Wikipedia, and then we're going to search the cryptid up online and see what different websites there are. We're going to try to stick to websites that end in .net or .org. We may check a couple other Wikipedias that we come across, and that's pretty much it. I think. Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Oh. Pardon me. Alright. So, we are going to be reading about the Owlman, which already see Eagle Owl, which based on our experience so far, that probably means that this is most likely a case of misidentification without reading anything here. But we're going to give this due course. We're going to let it play out and see what happens. So, I guess we can get started. After I yawn, it will be good. I promise you guys that I don't yawn this often. I don't know what it is. Something about just sitting here and then talking for an hour. I know what it is. I don't talk a lot. I don't talk in my job. I don't really talk when I'm watching TV. I only talk when I'm around my better half, her and then I only talk when I'm on YouTube or streaming, and I barely even talk when I play with friends on games, so. Yeah, that's why. And also, my room's kind of messy, so I feel claustrophobic in it because I don't know how to not. So anyway, before we get started, actually I don't know where it went, but I found a silver dollar. Pretty cool. Not literally a dollar made of silver, it's called silver dollar. It's got a lot of history, it's pretty cool. Very proud of it. And it was in the wild too. It was at a local donut shop. Like, come on, how you can get better than that? Okay. The Owlman. Here we go. After I yawn. Okay. The Owlman. In Cornish folklore, the Owlman, Cornish, Cowanden, sometimes referred to as the Cornish Owlman or the Owlman of Manon, is an owl-like humanoid creature said to have been seen in 1976 in the village of Manon, Cornwall, UK. The Owlman is sometimes compared to the American Mothman legend from the mid-1960s. However, a Eurasian eagle owl is likely a source of legend. That's hearsay! The story originated when Tony Doc Shields came to have investigated a report of two young girls on a holiday in Manon who saw a large winged creature hovering above the tower of St. Manon and St. Stephen's Church, Manon, on 17th of April, 1976. According to most versions of the story, the girls identified as June and Vicky Melling. Imagine having your last name be Melling. Were so frightened by the sight of a large, quote, feathered birdman, end quote, that their father, Don, immediately cut short their family holiday after hearing the tale. According to Shields, one of the girls provided him with a drawing of the creature, which she dubbed Owlman. Excuse me. The story was subsequently related in a pamphlet entitled Morgar, The Monster of Falmouth Bay by Anthony Monon Peller, which circulated throughout Cornwall in 1976. According to Shields, Owlman was reported again on July 3rd by two 14-year-old girls identified as Sally Chapman and Barbara Perry, who were aware of the Owlman tale. According to... okay. So, in our very first episode, which by far was the best, in my opinion, the first episode was about the something devil. Well, anyway, the devil. The devil in that episode, not the actual devil, but this is the blank devil. I don't remember the name. It had 3 reportings by, I think it was like a 17-year-old, a 17-year-old, I think a 14-year-old and an 11-year-old, something like that. They were all young. And they were all separate, and none of them knew each other. So it was very like, okay, that's more convincing because it's unlikely, unless they colluded, that these 3 people who claimed to not know each other, who didn't know the timing of anything of the other reports and anything else, like they're all so unrelated that they just kind of, went out and did their thing. So, here, they're saying that the two 14-year-old girls were aware of the Owlman tale, whereas in the, I think it was a Doberman devil? I forget. The devil one, they weren't aware of the tale of the whatever creature that was running around that day. So anyway, I digress. According to the story, the 2 girls were camping when they were confronted by a big owl with pointed ears as big as a man with glowing eyes and black pincer-like claws. Sporadic claims of Owlman sightings in the vicinity of the church circulated in 1978, 79, 89, and 95, and according to legend, a, quote, loud owl-like sound, end quote, could be heard at night in the Mullion churchyard during the year 2000. Explanation. According to author Joe Nickel, church towers are common nesting places for barn owls. I like barn owls. Which were likely a source of the sightings. Author and 14 TV presenter Reverend Lionel Fanthrope? Okay. Also identifies the sighting of a Eurasian eagle owl as a likely source of the legend. A cult historian. Where did I go wrong in life to go to church, to go to college, graduate with a business and IT degree, and end up in a job that uses none of those skills just to read that I could have spent all this time being an occult historian? There are a few jobs that I would purposely go on my way to acquire. That is absolutely one of them. Right up there with being a full-time YouTuber entertainer. That is right there. I digress. Occult historian Gareth Medway suggested that the whole thing may have been a hoax by Shields. Shields? Have I been saying Shields the whole time? It's not Shields, it's Shields. Okay. Anyway. by Shields, who had a reputation for hoaxing. Medway noted that the witnesses claiming encounters with a similar legendary monster promoted by Shields, quote, were either Doc Shields or friends of Doc Shields or relatives of Doc Shields, or reported their sight of Doc Shields and nobody else, or else wrote letters describing what they had seen in newspapers and were never interviewed by anybody, end quote. That's rough. That's pretty rough. Alright, pop cultures. Culture. In 2009, the episode Death Raptor focused on the Owlman in the Animal Planet TV series Lost Tapes. Lost Tapes. There it is again. The Owlman Feeds at Midnight is an episode in season 1 of the children's TV show The Secret Saturdays. That's a heck of a name for a TV kids TV series episode. I struggle to say that. The plot of the episode involves a town terrorized by an Owlman. Okay, it sounds brutal for kids. The 2012 play Horse Piss for Blood. I'm sorry? What? Written by Carl Gross. Yeah, that is gross. Features the Owlman as a key plot point. Alright. The Owlman is depicted in 2013 Scottish independent horror film Lord of Tears. In this film, the Owlman represents the Semitic god Moloch? Is that the... Have I heard that before? Moloch? Where did I hear that? Did I hear that on, like... I didn't hear it on South Park, did I? Oh, I think I did. What up? Whatever. Not what up, whatever. Alright. Right off the bat. Kind of rough. One guy claiming all these stories are being reported to him, and nobody else, mind you, who has a reputation of of hoaxing people. Yeah, that's rough. Alright, let's take a look. What is this? Is that supposed to be an owl? That is not an owl face. Okay. That's a lot more closer to what I imagined. What is... That is not what an Owlman would look like. I'm sorry. It's just not. It's just not. Alright. Anywho. So. MysteriousUniverse.org. We've seen these guys before. Taking a deep look at the UK's equivalent of Mothman. I actually kind of trust these guys. They're pretty good. Taking a deep look at the UK's equivalent of Mothman. The creepy Owlman. Ooh, see now that's pretty close to what I was imagining off the bat. I mean, a little artistic, but I like it. I like it. Right, and this is one where you have to pay for light mode, right? Yeah, you have to pay for light mode. Literally what? Okay. Wow. Alright, well. Strap in. We got a lot of history to catch up on the Owlman, everybody. Let's hit it. I should have gotten water. Oh, well. Alright. The Owlman. A few days... I have to yawn. Huey, I apologize. Alright. Come on. A few days ago, I made a mention here in Mysterious Universe of the creature known as the Owlman. Something that is close to the Mothman of Point Pleasant, West Virginia, USA. But I only made a brief review of it. Today, though, I am going to take a bigger and deeper study of the winged phenomenon. In early 1976, in the dense trees surrounding Manon Old Church, Cornwall, England, became a veritable magnet for a diabolical beast that was christened the Owlman. Owlman? Owlman. The majority of those that crossed paths with the creature asserted that it was human-like in both size and design and possessed a pair of large wings, fiery red eyes, claws, and exited? I can't pronounce the word. an atmosphere of menace. No wonder people make parallels with Mothman. It all began during the weekend of Easter 1976 when two young girls, June and Vicky Melling, had an encounter of a truly nightmarish kind in Monon Woods. The girls were on holiday with their parents when they saw a gigantic feathery bird man hovering over the 13th century church. It was a story that their father, Don Melling, angrily shared with a man named Tony, quote, Duck, and quote, Shields. I say angrily because Shields was a noted local magician who Melling came to believe had somehow incited the whole affair. Instigated the whole affair. Or as Shields himself worded it, quote, some trick that had badly frightened his daughter, end quote. I'm sorry my reading was off today, I don't know what's going on. Shields denied any involvement in the matter whatsoever, but that was only the start of things. Another one to see the Owlman was Jane Greenwood, also a young girl. She wrote a letter to the local newspaper, the Foulmouth Packet, during the summer of 1976 that detailed her own startling encounter. Quote, I am on holiday in Cornwall, my sister and our mother. I too have seen a big bird thing. It was on Sunday morning, and the place was near the trees near Mahon Church, above the rocky beach. It was in the trees standing like a full-grown man, but the legs bent backwards like a bird's. It saw us and quickly jumped up and rose straight up through the trees. How could it rise up like that? Two 14-year-old girls, Sally Chapman and Barbara Perry, also had the misfortune to have a run-in with the Owlman in 1976. At around 10 p.m., while camping in the woods of Monon, and as they sat outside of their tent making a pot of tea sounds good right now, the pair heard a strange hissing noise. On looking around, they saw the infernal... Don't say infernal lust now. Just don't think of memes. They saw the infernal Owlman staring in their direction from a distance of about 60 feet. Sally said, quote, it was like a big owl with pointed ears as big as a man. The eyes were red and glowing. At first I thought that it was someone dressed up playing a joke trying to scare us. I laughed at it. We both did. Then it went up into the air and both screamed. When it went up, you could see its feet. Barbara added, quote, it's true. It was horrible. A nasty owl face with big ears and big red eyes. It was creepy. It was covered in gray feathers. The claws on its feet were black. It just flew up and disappeared into the trees, end quote. The Owlman and Others, 30th Anniversary Edition. Many thanks to my good friend Jonathan Downs for the use of the cover of John's book, The Owlman and Others. Oh, that's cool. That's a nice book cover. Catch my eye. While there were rumors of additional sightings of the creature in the immediate years that followed, it wasn't until the summer of either 1988 or 1989. Okay, here's more information that we didn't know. That the Owlman put in an appearance that can be documented to a significant degree. In this case, the witness was a young boy dubbed, quote, Gavin, end quote, by a good friend of mine, John Downs, who wrote an entire book on the winged monster titled The Owlman and Others. And his then girlfriend, Sally, young boy, okay, I was going to say, wasn't he 13? But never mind. The beast, Gavin told John, was around 5 feet in height, had large feet, glowing eyes, and significantly sized wings. It was a shocking, awe-inspiring encounter that Gavin and Sally never forgot. As was the case in the immediate post-1976 era, a few reports from the 1990s to 2000s have surfaced. Chiefly, however, they are from individuals who prefer not to go on the record, something which has led to understandable suspicions of fakery and hoaxing. But one could also make a very good argument that going public about having seen a monstrous birdman in English woodland would not be the wisest move to make. Today, and getting ever closer to 40 years since the original encounter occurred, the matter remains undeniable controversy that it was back then. For some researchers, Doc Shields is the man to blame. John Downs, however, suggests something else, something with which I concur. Namely, that Shields, dubbed, quote, Wizard of the Western World, end quote, has profound knowledge of magic, quote unquote. And by that, I mean people pulling rabbits out of hats. We are talking here about something far stranger. Oh, don't mean about people pulling rabbits out. We are talking here about something much stranger, something ancient, and something filled with swirling mystery. In a review of Doc's excellent book, Monstrum, I noted, quote, Docs is a world filled with a deep understanding of real nature of magic, chaos and ritualistic, the secrets of invocation and manifestation, of strange realms just beyond, and that occasionally interact with our own, and trickster-like phenomenon. Docs is also a domain, where, when we dare to imagine the fantastic, when we decide to seek it out, and when we finally accept its reality, we perhaps provide it with some form of quasi-existence, end quote. Perhaps Doc, in a decidedly strange way, really did play a role in the formation of the Owlman legend. But, such was the allure of the beast, it quickly stepped out of the world of imagination and storytelling right into the heart of the real world. And on that last point, be careful what you wish for, lest you unleash into our reality a monster that has no intention of returning to that domain from which it was originally created, imagined, or evoked. Now, we come to another aspect of what I call anomalous owls. In 2013, I received an email from a woman now living in the English town of Lowestoft. Sounds like an Overwatch character. But who previously lived very close to Monon, where the Owlman was seen in 1976, and specifically in the small Cornwall village of Gweek. Gweek? Gweek! Hold on. Is Gweek really a word, and that's not just an uwu version of the word Greek? Oh my god. England has an uwu version of Greek. Alright, moving on. The distance between which by car is approximately 6.5 miles. It transpires that in 1998, she had a profound UFO encounter while taking the road from Monon to Gweek. I can't take that word seriously. It was after 11 p.m. and the woman was driving home after visiting a friend in Monon. She had barely left the little village when she saw what she could only describe as a UFO, one that appeared at the side of the road, around the size of a large beach ball and glowing bright orange. The next thing she knew, she was parked at the side of the road. That face scared me for some reason, and I even saw it before I started reading. She was parked on the side of the road with what she was able to determine was no less than 2 hours of time unaccounted for, but there was something else. As she came out of her groggy state, she caught sight of a huge owl-like creature, but which had somewhat humanoid characteristics attached to it too. It was hovering in the air at a height of around 15 feet, but was not employing the use of its wings to keep it aloft. Given the fact that this was practically the doorstep of where the Owlman was seen back in 1976, and since too, the idea that two issues are unconnected is highly unlikely. This is Nick Redfern, John Downs. Oh, I'm sorry. This is John Downs, Owlman expert. So this is John, the guy who wrote the book up here. Yeah, he looks about what I imagine, especially with the nature background and like the woodland trail sign. Yeah, I like his plaid though. All right. The witness admitted she knew of the Owlman legend. Living so close to Monon, it would be astonishing had she not heard of it. There was little more she could tell me beyond the facts surrounding the sighting of the curious ball of light, the period of missing time, and the appearance of a, quote, humanoid owl, end quote, as I term it. This particular encounter, which was not publicized before, set me thinking. What if the Owlman of Cornwall is not a beast of cryptozoological proportions after all? What if instead it is some strange manifestation of the UFO phenomenon, one that is designed to trick the witnesses into thinking they have encountered a large owl, when in reality, the event was of an otherworldly nature? A screen memory, in other words. Maybe we need to reevaluate the true nature of the enigmatic Owlman. My reasoning for suggesting this is simple. There are numerous cases on record that link sightings of what are perceived as owls, and sometimes as impossibly large owls, and UFOs together, both in terms of the time frame and the geographical location. Indeed, Mike Cleland has written an entire excellent couple of books on this very issue of how and why owls and alien incidents go together hand in glove. Drop mic. He doesn't say drop mic, but that feels like a drop mic moment. All this brings me to two matters that, given the location, Monon, cannot be a coincidence. Number one, Liz Randall is a friend of mine who has compiled an excellent 2-volume collection of her writings on all things paranormal titled From Lioness to Alien Big Cats and Back Again. Liz referred me to an article she wrote in 2004 that deals with something that her daughter experienced in 2003 at the church itself. Liz said in 2004, quote, very early very early one morning a year ago, in the late summer of 2003, my adult daughter, who lives in Monon Smith, Cornwall, had a strange experience. Being a thoughtful neighbor and not wanting to disturb anyone, at 2 a.m. she and a friend had wanted to listen to some music. So she took her car up to the car park of the old local church because it's such an isolated spot. Liz continued, and after about 10 minutes, my daughter and her friend suddenly became aware of a block of blue/white light above their heads. It was pulsating in that it stopped and then started again for seconds at a time, although it remained stationary overhead. Neither were aware of any missing time, but they also had no idea how long they remained near the churchyard before they went home. And when they reached home, both were so tired that they simply went to sleep without checking the clock. But things didn't end there. Liz also directed me to the matter of ancient earthworks. Earthworks? What is an earthwork? Interestingly, ancient earthworks of the type referenced in the paragraph above are very often the focus of supernatural activity. I know this as I grew up very near to one in Staffordshire, England. Its name is Castle Ring, which was built during the Iron Age and was home to an ancient tribe called Cornovi. The Cornovi? Cornovi, sure. I can say without certainty that that Castle Ring has a long history of encounters with UFOs, Bigfoot-type creatures, spectral figures, and much more. Why? Well, that's the big question that unfortunately eludes us. But what I would say, however, is that I think investigating the Owlman itself as a solitary, standalone mystery will only allow us to see a small portion of what's afoot in this particularly mysterious part of Cornwall. In our quest for the truth of the beast and of the Owlman/anomalous owls/UFO connection too, it is very likely Monon itself that we should be focusing on. It may well be an underappreciated equivalent of one of John Keel's legendary, quote, window areas, end quote, places where just anything and everything weird can be seen and encountered. Is the Owlman connected to the Mothman? Here we go. I was waiting for this. Finally, on the matter of the Owlman, we'll take a trip to Loch Ness, Scotland, a place we have already visited and which may be the home to an extraterrestrial lake monster, Nessie. Loch Ness, Scotland, a body of water around 22 miles long, is mostly noted for its legendary resident monster, Nessie. It's a fact, though, that Loch Ness has been the site of additional weirdness. Not just for years or decades, but for centuries. Long before Nessie was on the scene, Loch Ness was the haunt of water horses and kelpies? I don't know the word. They were supernatural shapeshifters that would drag people into the deep water, drowning them and stealing their souls. That escalated quickly. Aleister Crowley, the Great Beast, owned a home at Loch Ness. It was Boleskine House. Its name was Boleskine House, I guess. Visitors to and subsequent owners of Boleskine House talked of strange vibes and of shadowy supernatural things lurking in the old house. Ugh. There have been more than a few UFO encounters at Loch Ness, and Nessie seeker Ted Holliday had a chilling encounter at the loch with a man in black, and there is a matter of a curious owl seen at Loch Ness in 2007. Excuse me? That's interesting. The story involves a Scottish woman who I shall refer to as Maxine, and who I met in 2014. On a clear summer day in 2007, Maxine was walking her dog along the hills that overlook Loch Ness when she saw what, from her description, I can only describe as an alien gray. When first she saw it, at a distance of a couple of hundred feet, she assumed it was a young child, chiefly because of its short height. As she got closer, and as her dog froze on the spot, she could see that not only was it not a young boy, it wasn't even human. Maxine and the gray stared at each other for just a few seconds, after which it stretched its arms out and, in an instant, transformed into what Maxine described as an impossibly large owl. It was practically man-sized. It immediately took to the skies and headed across the loch at a fast rate. Maxine continued to watch with astonishment as the alien owl thing vanished into the trees on the opposite side of the loch. Maxine is 100% sure that she did not experience missing time. She does not have any vague memories of being taken aboard some kind of futuristic alien craft. She is not plagued by graphic nightmares involving extraterrestrials. In fact, she's completely sure that what she recalls is exactly what she saw. A small alien creature literally shapeshifting into the form of an owl. Interestingly, since her experience took place, Maxine has come up with an intriguing theory to try and explain and rationalize the situation. She now believes that the gray aliens have the ability to transform into physical appearances. This, she also suggests, means that the grays can spy on us whenever and wherever they choose without being noticed for what they really are. If we see an owl, a black cat, a German Shepherd dog, the list goes on, we may actually be seeing something very different, a shape-shifting ET using a piece of brilliant camouflage. Whatever you may think of Maxine's theory and her experience too, the fact is there are a number of cases of UFOs and aliens being associated with and linked to owls. It's clear that the Owlman is more than just an unknown animal. It's far more than that. That was a doozy! God, I love this site. Alright. Well, that killed a good 20 minutes. Wow, that was fun. Alrighty. So, wow. Alright. Well, I was going to look up the, owl story for 2007, but it seems like that's what I talked about, that Maxine character there. And I was confused about the whole, like, middle section, the whole, like, third period, or third quarter, about Loch Ness Monster and Loch Ness and Lake Ness, all that, but he explained it after the fact, so, Alright. Well, what did we learn from that? The Owlman is... Alright. So, we have the Owlman. Was seen twice, from what I remember. Those 2 times, each could have been a very large owl. I guess there was a third time where it was spotted at Lake Ness. But, like, it wasn't an owl. It was a shapeshifter. So, if that was the same thing, then that would mean in 1978, it was also there, or at the very least, something of the same species was there. Alright. And now we're getting into the grays. At this point, I might as well start talking about O'Hare International Airport. Like, this is a rabbit hole I just read. Wow. Okay. So that was the Owlman, according to mysteriousuniverse.org. Which, by the way, highly recommend that site if you're ever bored. That is a doozy of a site. I love it. Okay. Anywho, what else do we have? Footage by the same site. Well, now, wait a minute. Wait a hootenanny. So we have... Wait a minute. When was this written? October 12th this year? Yo, Bog, let's go! Made it by 2 months. Perfect. Okay, well, back to 2019. Well, wait a minute. Now, what is this? Alright, I'm surprised that the guy from the other article didn't reference this article to the same host website, but whatever. Whatever. Okay. Y'all ready? Much smaller this time. Much, much smaller. Let me check my messages real quick. Alright. We are good to go. Okay, here we go. Sorry. Thank you. I just want to make sure nobody was talking. Mothman this is... Investigator claims to have captured footage of Owlman, Mothman's UK cousin. Mothman has a special place in my heart. I feel like, you know what? Because we're talking about old England and Mothman, let me just button up real quick. This is Gotta take the piss out of this one a little bit today, but like, this is fun. Alright. Mothman has a special place in my heart. I had always had, oh my good lord, that bothers my English minor so much. I had always had a passing curiosity. Alright, I'll be serious. I'd always had a passing curiosity with UFOs and paranormal phenomena, but the Mothman sightings in Point Pleasant, West Virginia were the first case to really grab my interest and pull me deep into spooky world. I suspect this is true for many others as well. Mothman is just so weird. And really, the more time passes, the weirder Mothman gets. Now that the internet allows us to share weird stories from all over the world instantaneously, and I guess simultaneously, but it doesn't say that, we're seeing that the Mothman of Point Pleasant may not have been an isolated one-off incident. There were the sightings in Chicago, really, and around the Great Lakes that began in 2017, and now a ghost hunter has claimed to have filmed the legendary Owlman of Monon Smith in Cornwall, UK. A subject of local folklore since the 1920s who last showed up in 1976, the Owlman is described as a half-human, half-owl with glowing red eyes. According to local legend, the Owlman prowls the old church in Monon Smith, Cornwall. We already know all this. In 1976, it was seen by two separate pairs of teenage girls in the area around the old church. The Owlman of Monon Smith became a media sensation for a hot minute, but it hasn't been seen since. Now, think of what the silhouette of an Owlman would look like and the silhouette of what Mothman would look like. If these creatures are real, there's a good chance they're the same creature. Whether you name it Mothman or Owlman really depends on whether you're into birds or bugs. I like that. It's cute. Of course, they may not be real, but let's dig into the supposed footage of Owlman. Footage comes from a self-proclaimed ghost hunter, Mark Davis, on an investigation into the graveyard behind the Monon Smith Church. Watch it yourself here. Before we keep reading, let's watch this footage. Let me mute this. Video loading. Are we going to be able to watch the video? Hello? Maybe? Come on. Okay. I'm not patient. Let's go to YouTube. What was it? Mark Davis? What do we got? Yeah. Owlman. No? Nothing? Really? That's spelled right? I spelled it right. Well, looks like no video loading for us, huh? Rip. Okay. Well, I guess we'll have to go by his words then. Mark enters the graveyard through a gate with a really on-the-nose spooky phrase engraved on it. Dathimi nisse thetur. Cornish for, it is good to draw nigh to the Lord. Mark Davies holds out a spiritual detector, whatever that is, and asks if there's anyone there. In the right of the video, a silhouette appears that looks strikingly like an Owlman or Mothman. I lost my place. Found it. Or even a Batman, if that's your persuasion. It also looks like a gravestone, but whatever. That's no fun, and there's more to the video. In the next section of the video, Mark holds out the spiritual detector. I really wish I knew what that was, if it's just an EMF meter or what. and asks if there's some sort of creature, an owl, living there. The detector begins lighting up. Mark's fellow ghost hunter, Chris Power, says there's something in front of them, and Mark holds out a detector again, and it begins lighting up with a full force, and screams to be responding to their questions, seemingly answering in the affirmative when it asked, is the Mothman the Owlman? The two ghost hunters also captured what they say are unexplained and mysterious lights in the woods. What is this? This is another mysterious universe link. We're not going to get into that today. That is a whole different can of worms. At the end of the video, the ghost hunters say that something flew at Chris and left him with a bunch of scratches, which is easy to fake for sure, and could also be done by a normal sort of owl. But in the event that the dude was actually attacked by a demon, I don't want to add insult to injury. Here's what Mark Davies has to say about the incident. Quote, "There's ley lines which are under the ground near the church, and they gave off paranormal activity. There was a hissing in the trees, and you could hear flapping. I heard it go right over my head, and I was shocked. That's when I saw the figure, and it had horns on its head. It was mad. On the meter I had, which picks up electric magnetic energy that we use to detect ghosts, I was getting conscious replies to my questions through it. That's telling me there's a demonic energy, and it wasn't safe. My mate got attacked. He had scratches on his arms. His camera broke too. He didn't see anything. He just felt the surge of energy. He didn't realize till about half an hour later when he felt some burning. It's not a place I would advise anyone to go there alone. Let's put it that way." All in all, the video would seem pretty easy to stage. It's interesting, but there's something about it that sets off my internal nonsense detector. There's nothing super rock solid here, but I'm not going to flat out call it a hoax. The real interesting thing to me is even if both Mothman and Owlman are complete and utter nonsense, people keep claiming to see the same weird, terrifying creature all over the world. It doesn't matter whether this video is real or not. The fact that there's even folklore of a Mothman equivalent in the UK speaks to the Mothman's enduring reign as the king of all weirdos. Now, if we go back to that link, alright, watch it for yourself here. If we go back to the link, this is a fun one. I like this episode. Apparently, this is the mysterious creature. Now, let's enhance, okay? Let's increase zoom. Now, I don't know about you, but what I see is a nonsensical light, because normally ghost hunters go at night. Okay, so why is there a light? Number two, yeah, you kind of see horns, right? Is there a tree? Because if you notice, the background shade is the same shade color as the horns. And if that's a tree that goes all the way up, which I'm assuming it is, due to the fact that you have the light clear here, like the sun, and then there is different shades of that same color throughout the shades of the picture, shade being caused by the trees. Well, the shade is nearly identical to the same shade as these horns. But even if you said that the shade of these horns are darker than the trees around them, like for example, it's dark up here and the light over here, riddle me this. Why is the outline of the body so pronounced? Now you could say it's because that these are thinner, and because they're thinner, there's going to be more light protruding across them, and because there's more light across them, they're going to look smaller, and therefore a different shade of the body. However, that doesn't really check out to me. Plus, there's a wicked height difference here. Like, this one goes up here. There is not much stuff close here. This is clearly the same shadow right here. So, like, there's no way that this horn starts here and ends here. It either goes up to here or not at all. So right off the bat, I don't think that there's anything on top of the person's head. Number two, okay? Hold on. Number two, the body is extremely square. Like, abnormally so. So, let's say for argument's sake that this person, quote-unquote person, okay, is actually an Owlman. Well, if it's an Owlman, why is it in the shape of a square? Why does my brother here have... My brother in Christ, why does he have a square body and a round head? Like, nobody has this type of body right here. Have you ever seen the silhouette person? It goes like this, and then it keeps going down. There's not a 90-degree angle right here. It goes down. That right there is BS. Number 3, are these the wings? Now, if these are wings, okay? If these are wings, shouldn't they be really blocking out the sunlight instead of having a shade go through them? And they're so disproportionate in size. The last thing here is at the legs. If that doesn't look like, say, the back of a duster, or a baggy pair of jeans, or any sort of coat, I don't know what does. This to me looks like a person wearing a square coat that just happened to get the right type of lighting. But hey, who knows? Anyway. And what? Now we have the exact same creature in different lighting? Is that supposed to be what I'm looking at as a horn? And it's still so square. Is that a hand? This looks like something straight out of a bad indie film. No. I'm sorry, Mark. I can't believe it. Literally, I can't believe it. I'm not calling you a liar. I'm not calling you a truther. There's one comment. However, in the next village, mask-wearing local furries out dodging and dogging and going for it hill for leather. Literally, what are you on? What does any of that mean? Alright, we're moving on. Alright, so... what do we have? What do we have? Well, what we have is a cryptid that not only got its name from likely misidentification, but only stayed relevant because people wanted to believe that their small town was more important than it really is. I hate to sound like that. I really do. But, like, it just sounds that way to me. I'm not blaming the people. I'm just saying the news outlets, like, they really seem to have ran with the story when it was big in the 70s. So, yeah, I guess that's gonna do it. We've been going for about an hour. Yeah. That's gonna do it for me. I will be streaming Shipment 24/7 on Call of Duty right after this, so if you want to stay for that, I would greatly appreciate it, but no pressure. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. Of course, if you watch as a VOD, thank you for watching the video. Thank you for listening to me in the background. I really appreciate it all. Outro stuff. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for 10 years on YouTube. It means a lot. If you haven't seen that video yet, check it out on my channel if you don't mind. Put a lot of effort into it, and it's something I really do care about. And just thank you to everybody for allowing me to stay on this platform for this long. I appreciate every single one of you. Thank you for being who you are. Thank you for spending time with me today. And remember, somebody somewhere loves you, even if you don't know it yet. And to those here live, thank you so much for spending your time with me as well. I love you all. Take care. And goodbye.